Chapter 6, Mother, Jagwerye's Perspective. Who's that? I heard my mom ask as I put down my phone. Saying nothing, I walked back to the chair across from my mom and sat down. Jagwerye. I took a deep breath. It was Lypye. What? My mom exclaimed. Do you know where she is? Is she in jail? I know where she is. She is not in jail, I admitted. Why not? She has settled down in a place with a mortal that is under my team's protection. She is in a disguise. Therefore, my team cannot act unless this mortal is in danger, I explained. This mortal isn't with Lypye. No! They are best friends. I would take action if it was different. My mom sighed. What about Lypye's henchmen? Where have you been? Excuse me? My mom asked, crossing her arms. My apologies. King, Kim, and Carl betrayed Lypye 5 mortal years ago. King and Kim are in jail. We have been unable to locate Carl, but with our new mortal team, we are sure to find him soon. That was another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Do you really think that this mortal team is a really good idea? Yes, I replied without hesitation. We are the team needed to take care of King's team, but it takes us a while to get to Karth. If we have a team already on Karth that can keep an eye on them until we get there, we might be able to save a few lives. What we discovered is that we needed a plan B with King in charge. I stayed silent after that, making sure not to mention that we're training Lypye as plan C. My mom stood up and started pacing back and forth. My concern is how young these mortals are. We know their identities. They and their families are under our protection as well. Do their families know what they're doing? Mom asked. I stayed silent, not answering. She continued. Of course. We are trying to limit the amount of cat humans that know about their identities, I explained. You become very reckless, Jagwerye, she told me. I bowed my head, upset that I disappointed my mom. Posture, Jagwerye, she reminded me. I sat up straight and looked back at her, fighting back tears. This team of yours isn't a good idea if you're going to be this ridiculous as to forget what I taught you. Both of us jumped as we heard the doors behind us slam open. Jagwerye, we have an emergency on Karth, Pantherye yelled. We need you. Pantherye Syara, my mom exclaimed. Oh, hi, Mom. Jagwerye, right now, Pantherye continued. My apologies, Mother. We will pick up this conversation at a later time, I told my mom before briskly walking out of the room with Pantherye. She pulled me around the corner of the hallway towards the Syara Team's meeting room. What is this emergency? I asked as we entered the room. Pantherye giggled. There isn't one. Then why did I hate hearing her treat you that way? So I came up with a plan to get you out of there. I sighed. You were eavesdropping again. Pantherye, I don't want your excuses. You don't like her talking to you like that. I stayed silent, knowing she was right. By the way, she continued, what did Lypye want? She came home to Jasmine crying, but Jasmine would not tell her what was wrong. She needed some advice as to how to stay patient with her, I explained. Pantherye paced back and forth. If you plan to train Lypye for the team, you should probably tell Lypye that. I did, I lied. She stopped pacing and faced me, crossing her arms. What excuse did you use? Hyena left for a training session, I replied. I thought back to what Lypye said about Jasmine, then something clicked in my head as I thought back to my conversation with Hyena. Where is Hyena? He's in his room. Why? Excuse me. I hurried out of the room and took my first right. Hyena told me he was coming from Jasmine's place, so maybe he knew why she was crying. Slowly, I walked up to the door at the end of the hall where the royals' bedrooms were and knocked on it.
Come in.
I heard him call. I opened the door and saw him sitting on the bed, reading a book. Hyena's room was very simple. White walls that had nothing on them, black carpet on the floor, a bed with black covers on the back left corner of the room, and a wooden bookshelf filled with books in the back right corner. He never really wanted anything and really displayed his role as the god of Baron.
Hey, Jagwerye.
I heard him say while putting his book down.
Did you need something?
Yes. I need to ask you about Jasmine.
What about her?
He asked, suddenly nervous. I took a deep breath. Lypye called me earlier. She told me she found Jasmine crying. Do you know something about this? He hesitated.
No.
I sat on the edge of his bed. Hyena, what happened? He sighed.
She was making me uncomfortable, so I left in a hurry with no explanation.
I stayed quiet for a while, thinking. You owe her an explanation as soon as you're ready. He looked down at his lap.
I know. I've been trying to get it off of my mind, but it's not that easy.
I hugged him lightly. I know you do the right thing.
Chapter 7, Mortals, Lypye's Perspective. I walked with Jagwerye to a building just outside the city. It was a broken down shed that looked like it was about to collapse.
Yeah, you totally care about this team,
I said sarcastically. Jagwerye and Pantherye pulled me into the shed. Jagwerye opened a hatch on the wall, which then opened up to reveal a handprint scanner. She scanned her handprint, and the hatch opened on the floor in the center of the room.
We sure do. Time to climb down.
The three of us, one by one, climbed down the ladder to a really big room. There were giant computers on the left side of the room and a table in the center. The back area had a large gym with weights, punching bags, wrestling mats, and more. I saw Agent B in there practicing with a punching dummy. For a mortal, she was kind of impressive. I felt a tap on my shoulder and looked over to see Jagwerye motioning for me to follow her. We walked to a door in the back and she opened it to reveal a small workshop. In the room were two young mortals. There was a mortal wearing some kind of wristband contraption. She had short black hair that came down to her chin, a baggy green t-shirt, green basketball shorts, white socks, green sneakers, and a green mask that went around her eyes. The younger mortal was working on the wristband. This mortal had straight, light brown hair that came down a little past her shoulders, a baggy pink t-shirt, pink sweatpants, white socks, pink sneakers, and a pink mask that went across her eyes. The pink one put down her tools.
Okay, when you're ready, aim that arrow at the target on the wall.
She handed the girl a red machine with a button.
When your aim is ready, press this.
The girl in green did as instructed. She had a very concentrated look as she pressed the button. An arrowhead on a string shot straight out, but didn't have enough momentum and fell on the floor, not making it far enough to hit the target.
I still need more power,
the pink girl said.
And in what instance do you two believe you will be needing something like this?
Jagwerye asked, walking over. Oh, hello, Miss Jagwerye,
said the girl in green.
The girl in pink sat up straight, nervous.
I was making sure we were prepared for all instances. We probably shouldn't use this as a grappling hook, but we could use it to take something.
What are you going to be stealing, a bag of flour? I asked. They both looked at me. The girl in pink showed genuine fear in her eyes, but the girl in green, who spoke first, made sure not to show any fear. What if we steal a remote or something? I crossed my arms. You'll most likely break the remote, which will cause whatever machine it operates to go haywire.
To Lypye!
Jagwerye snapped.
Please do not criticize my team.
Yeah, speaking of, I continued, are these two even old enough to be on the team?
We were hiring as young as 15, but if they are good enough, we were willing to hire younger.
Jagwerye explained. You're hiring kids? That's more reckless than me, I pointed out.
Mom said the same thing,
she mumbled. Never thought I'd say this, but I kind of agree with her, I admitted. Jagwerye shook her head and continued.
Anyway, meet the youngest members of our team.
The green girl stood up. I'm Agent A, the weapons specialist of the team. I know how to make almost everything a weapon. I smirked. Where'd you learn that skill? My dad. When my mom wasn't around, he was constantly teaching me how to use all kinds of gadgets. Some of the training sessions involved me escaping the house without a scratch. My dad was arrested 3 years ago. Turns out he killed people for money and wanted me to be the same way. Agent A explained. Your father was an assassin for hire? I asked, astonished.
We found her shortly after her father was arrested. She's very feisty, but...
Jagwerye started. Jagwerye showed me how to harness my ability in a way that wasn't frowned upon. Agent A finished. How old are you exactly? I asked. I'm only 16, she responded. I pointed at the other girl. You look younger than her. I'm only 13, she admitted. This is Agent R. She is in charge of inventing mainly weapons, but we never let her hold back any creativity, Jagwerye explained. Because of her age, we never let her out on the field. I'm not much of a fighter anyway, she admitted. That's for sure, we heard from behind us. Agent B came over to us and stood behind Agent R, sweaty from training. But she's smart. I looked at Agent R. What's your story? She grabbed her arm nervously. My parents are both construction workers. When my parents noticed I liked tinkering to create new items, they began bringing home spare wood and scrap metal to stop me from using items around the house, she told me. They got me a tool set for my birthday 3 years ago, along with all the proper nuts and bolts for each tool. I'm always spending my allowance on different parts. My team visited her school 6 months ago. A member of her robotics club mentioned her to me, so I asked her principal to set up a private meeting with just the two of us. I noticed very quickly that she had a talent for inventing, Jagwerye finished. That's really cool. I looked at Agent B. And your story? She shrugged. My parents had me in gymnastics for 10 years, but had me in cheer camp when I was little and made me take self-defense training 3 years ago. She was very skilled from the get-go, Jagwerye continued. Her sensei recommended her as a fighter. I'm actually a cheerleader at Katsu University, Agent B chimed. Oh, one of my close friends goes there, I put in. Agent B! We heard Pantherye snap through gritted teeth in the back of the room. She looked at her. What? There are 45 cheerleaders at the university. I looked up. And like I'm going to go out of my way to track her down and find her at a university I don't attend. I know. Pantherye sighed and walked over to us. But it's still a risk at revealing her secret identity. I decided to change the subject. I thought you said you have 4 members. Jagwerye scanned the room. Anyone have any idea on Agent M's whereabouts? Oh, yeah! Agent B piped up. That's what I came to tell you. She just called to let us know she's going to be a little late. Something about taking care of something in her personal life. She's supposed to be the leader. Pantherye sighed again and crossed her arms. But she's the leader because she's the oldest, the strategist, and really good with computers. Agent B reminded her. That she is, Jagwerye stated. We heard the door open quickly. Sorry I'm late, came a female voice. I looked over to see a girl with brown hair that came down to her chin. She was wearing black sweatpants, black sneakers, a dark gray long sleeved shirt, and a black mask that went across her eyes. I had to take care of. She trailed off and rested, her eyes resting on me. Oh, Miss Lypye, you're here. I narrowed my eyes suspiciously. This girl looked familiar, even with the mask. How old are you? She smiled shyly. I just turned 20. I crossed my arms, already anticipating that would be her answer. And how did the team find you? What's your story? She looked over at Jagwerye, who nodded, and back at me. I believe you already know the answer. Mm-hmm, I responded, angry. Grabbing Jagwerye's arm tightly, I dragged her out of the room, slamming the door behind me. I let go of her, and she turned to face me. I can explain, she stated. Please, I indicated for her to speak with my hand, really angry. I would love to hear this one. She knew how to hack our systems at City Hall, in jail to control the power, watch the cameras, steal files, and more. We needed her. She tried. I crossed my arms. Please tell me she's being taught to fight at least. She nodded. I have Agent A and Agent B training her. Was Michelle your first choice? I asked. She shook her head. No. Then, who? I started. Let us just say you probably would have killed me if I asked my first choice, she admitted. I wanted to kill her now. Who could possibly... Wait a minute. Jazz was your first choice? I grabbed the sleeves of her dress and shoved her against the wall. Listen here, Jagwerye. I do not want her put at risk ever again. That's why I'm watching over her. No one, or the Syara team, is to ask her to join this team. Do you hear me? Pantherye came through the door. As soon as she saw us, she ran up to us and tugged on my arm. What is going on? Let her go.
Pantherye, stop!
Jagwerye yelled. Pantherye stopped and crossed her arms. Jagwerye continued.
I promise that no member from the Syara team or the Mortal Syara team will ask Jasmine to join the team.
A mortal with powers is pretty useful, Pantherye pointed out. I let go of Jagwerye and turned to face Pantherye, putting my finger in her face. She is not to be dragged into harm's way ever again. It's bad enough that her best friend has been. She slapped my arm, pushing my finger away. I looked over to see the 4 mortals peering through the doorway, watching everything. It was a mistake to come here, I mumbled, walking towards the exit.
Lypye, wait!
Jagwerye started. You want me to be like you and your team, but I'm not, and I never will be, I said before leaving.